Hello and welcome to your University of Indianapolis how-to video. Today we're going to be talking about how to use a centrifuge. Now, ideally, your centrifuge should be on a nice flat surface. This makes having it on a lab bench or inside a hood an idealized location. Now, your centrifuge here is going to spin up pretty quickly, and it's going to do some vibrations. It's going to have some good and bad vibrations. The bad vibrations are the ones we don't want. And the bad vibrations can cause glassware that's sitting right next to it to tip over. And that's a bad thing. So we don't want to have glassware next to our centrifuge. Now, let's talk about how to use our lovely centrifuge. First off, please note there is a lid. The lid is highly necessary. We open the lid by pressing the button right here down, and then we can open. Let's try that again. Down, open, and then to just shut it, we're just gonna close the lid on down. Now, inside our centrifuge, please note, oh, look at the centrifuge, don't look at me. The centrifuge is gorgeous. The centrifuge inside is going to have these numbered spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And inside here, we're going to have these nice plastic test tube holders, which are wonderful. We want to make sure those plastic test tube holders are always inside our centrifuge before we go to use it. Now, let's talk about how to insert a test tube into our lovely centrifuge. What we ideally and always do is have 2 test tubes at a time. Now, please check it out. Our test tubes have approximately the same volume. This is going to be important here in a second. When we go to put our test tubes in, we're going to put them in one at a time, and we're always going to load them in directly opposite of one another. So it's going to be 1 and 4, or 2 and 5, or 3 and 6. You always have to make sure that your test tubes are loaded opposite of one another. To take them out, we take them out one at a time. Now, remember that balance thing I told you about? We don't have balanced test tubes here. You cannot then use these 2 test tubes opposite of one another. You need to have approximately the same volume opposite of one another to provide the proper counterbalance for our centrifuge. Let's say we got ourselves a sample and we only have the one sample. Only the one. We need to get another test tube. And we need to take this empty test tube and we need to fill it with some water to approximately the same volume. The water is now going to act as our counterbalance for our wonderful solution. And we can load that in now. 1 and 4. And it is good. Now we're going to shut our lid. Never, ever, ever use this device with the lid open. Never do it. Also, notice your test tubes don't have caps on them. Don't spill anything in there. Be careful. We'll know if you spill it because these are our nice, brand new, wonderful centrifuges. Please don't muck them up for us. We would really appreciate that. So you load them in nice and gentle like I did. You close the lid. Now, check out the front of our wonderful centrifuge. We have speeds. RPMs, revolutions per minute. Most of the time, you're going to look on your lab procedure and it's going to tell you what speed you need to centrifuge at. For this demonstration, we're going to centrifuge at 1. Then, after you set your speed, you're going to come over and you're going to set your time. Your time is going to be dictated by your lab manual, your instructor, or the reading that you have done. For this example, we're going to spin this up and we're going to set it to 2 minutes. As soon as we click the time on to 3 minutes, because I want one past it, the centrifuge starts and it is spinning now. Whatever you do, don't touch the lid at this point. Do not touch that lid. That is spinning quite quickly and it will hurt you if you put your hand in there. Now we get to enjoy the next 3 minutes together while we wait for our sample to spin. Okay, now we're done. Did you hear that click? If you look inside now, the centrifuge is starting to slow down. Again, do not put your hand inside. Do not put your hand inside. If it is still spinning, wait for it to completely come to an end with the spin. Once it has come to a stop, then you can open the lid. You take out your samples one at a time. And if your sample had some kind of loose particulate in it, then we would have a nice pellet here at the bottom and we would have our supernatant on top. This has been a quick how-to video on how to use your centrifuge in your chemistry labs here at the University of Indianapolis. If you have any questions, please, before you start doing anything, ask your instructor or a teaching assistant to help you with them. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.